Okay, welcome back to Al the Pal TV, where I'll be highlighting the new and interesting movies and shows now or soon to be on your streaming screen. In this video, I'm going to highlight some of the more interesting shows that will be available on Netflix this December. Alright, let's start with the things that are already out starting December 1st. You may have seen them out there and you probably want to check these out. Let's start with Final Destination from 2009. This is the remake 2009 version. Death saved the best for 3D, so that was the tagline for this one. So this is originally in 3D. They also have number 3 and number 5 in the series, so this was kind of in between, I believe. So it's kind of bookmark entries for the Final Destination series. So check that one out. Also, we have Fool's Gold from 2008. This is Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson. They co-star in this action rom-com about a married couple with issues on search for adventure and lost treasure. This was back when Matthew was pumping out these rom-coms like peppermint white chocolate mocha frappuccinos at Starbucks, and considering running for governor was just a glint in his steely blue eyes. But check it out, it's fun, light-hearted rom-com. That's why they call it that. Also out, starting on the 1st, is Looper from 2012. This is Rian Johnson wrote and directed a sci-fi thriller starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis. Okay, the spoilers. Playing the same role but at different ages. So they're the same character but at different times in their lives. This time traveling movie sees hitmen who are sent back in time, and one job for Joe goes too far. When the mob wants to get rid of someone, they will send their target 30 years into the past, where a looper, who is a hired gun, like Joe, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is waiting to mop them up. So basically they send him back in time to get killed. It's kind of a weird thing. So he's getting rich and is enjoying his life, saving his money, until the day the mob decides to close the loop on him, sending back his future self, played by Bruce Willis, for assassination. So that's Looper. Here's a good rewatchable, Minority Report from 2002. It's Tom Cruise sci-fi thriller set in the future, based on a story by the famed science fiction writer Philip K. Dick, who has had a ton of short stories and full books transferred to movies like Blade Runner, Total Recall, The Adjustment Bureau, and a bunch more. So Minority Report is an action detective thriller set in Washington, D.C. in 2054, where police utilize a psychic technology to arrest and convict murderers before they commit their crime. So they kind of know beforehand that this person is going to commit murder. So Tom Cruise plays the head of his pre-crime unit and is himself accused of the future murder of a man he hasn't even met. So forcing him to take action to find out why this is happening to him, and can it be stopped or can he stop himself? So it's pretty deep stuff and it's fun. Good movie. And that's Minority Report. We also have from 2011 Soul Surfer, and this is based on a true story of Bethany Hamilton, who overcomes odds by getting back on her surfboard after a shark attack. So Bethany was basically born to surf. She was a natural talent who liked the waves, and she was leading an idyllic life in Kauai, participating in national surf competitions with her best friend, and then everything changes on Halloween morning when a 15-foot tiger shark comes out of nowhere and takes a big chunk out of her. So Soul Surfer reveals Bethany's fight to recover from her ordeal and how she grappled with questions of her future, strengthened by the love of her parents and supported by her group leader, Sarah, who's played by Carrie Underwood. Bethany refuses to give in and give up and begins a bold return to the water. And so it's a good life-affirming movie, and that's Soul Surfer. Next, we also have Sucker Punch from 2011. This is Zack Snyder's action movie about a group of young girls teaming together in a dystopian future. Close your eyes, open your mind. Sucker Punch is an epic action fantasy that takes us into the vivid imagination of a young girl whose dream world provides the ultimate escape from her darker reality. So unrestrained by the boundaries of time and place, she is free to go where her mind takes her, and her incredible adventure blurs the lines between what's real and what is imaginary. So the main character has been locked away against her will, but she has not lost her will to survive. Determined to fight for her freedom, she urges 4 other young girls who are locked up with her to band together and try to escape their terrible fate at the hands of their captors. They have her captor, Blue, and Madame Gorski, who is their trainer, and this big high roller who's going to come in and kind of spend money on them that they have to impress. So led by Baby Doll, the girls engage in a fantastical, hyper-surreal warfare against everything from samurais to serpents with a virtual arsenal at their disposal, kind of a steampunk fantasy thing, all merged together. It's pretty crazy, but it's visually stunning. Together they must decide what they are willing to sacrifice in order to stay alive, both in reality and in their alternative world. With the help of this wise man who kind of guides them in this fantasy world, played by Scott Glenn, their journey will set them free, basically. So love the look of this film. Check out the Blu-ray edition also for additional scenes that kind of really help put the story together that were unfortunately cut out of the theatrical release, and that's Sucker Punch. Next we have Tremors from 1990. This is a comedy monster horror starring Kevin Bacon. Tremors is actually two movies in one. On its own terms, it's an enjoyable modern sci-fi horror thriller with a good pacing and a sense of humor, but also it's kind of a loving tribute to such 1950s low-budget, desert-based sci-fi horror films like Them, which is like giant ants. I loved that movie as a kid. It's horrible and it's really good. So this movie, Tremors, stars Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, who are a pair of small-town handymen living in a small desert community who stumble upon several difficult-to-explain phenomena, including a couple of people who died under extremely strange and kind of grisly circumstances. Eventually, they and a handful of their neighbors find the cause, which are gigantic prehistoric worm-like creatures that kind of streak under the desert, kind of like a fish through water, reaching up and they grab anything they need for food. They basically can sense your motions and sounds. So they're cut off from the outside world. They have to figure out how to get across the desert alive while these creatures, they're pretty smart as well, close in on them, stalking them like monster sharks, like land sharks. The film benefits from a presence of special effects that are good enough to pull this off, keeping the shock value high, and also from a subtly humorous script and performances to match by the entire cast. It's just a really good, fun film. It's directed by Ron Underwood's breezy pacing of the whole picture. It's really good, so check that out. That's Tremors. So all those will be out on the 1st, so they're there right now. Coming out a little later on the 16th is Darkest Hour from 2017, which stars Gary Oldman, who is so good. He stars in this biopic of Winston Churchill on the eve of World War II. So it's a thrilling and inspiring true story, and it begins on the eve, like I said, of World War II, within days of becoming Prime Minister of Great Britain. Winston Churchill, Academy Award nominee Gary Oldman, must face one of his most turbulent and defining trials, exploring and negotiating peace treaty with Nazi Germany, or standing firm to fight for their ideals, liberty, and freedom of the nation. So as the seemingly unstoppable Nazi forces roll across Western Europe, and the threat of invasion is imminent, with an unprepared public, a skeptical king, and his own party plotting against him, Churchill must withstand his darkest hour, rally a nation, and attempt to change the course of world history. So that's Darkest Hour, coming out on the 16th of December. All right, let's talk about what's new. Starting with stuff that's out right now. It came out on the 1st, right at the beginning of the month. So we have Green Snake. It's a brand new animated feature film of a classic Chinese folktale and serves kind of as a sequel from a previous movie. So check that one out. So I saw this next one, a little on the, it's kind of an interesting, slow-paced movie. I can neither recommend or tell you to stay away from it, but it's called The Power of the Dog. It's directed by Jane Campion. The star-studded film is set on a ranch following Phil Burbank, who believes he'll never fall in love. The year is 1925. The Burbank brothers are wealthy ranchers in Montana. At the Red Mill restaurant on their way to the market, the brothers meet Rose, the widowed proprietress, and her impressionable son Peter. So Bill behaves so cruelly that he drives them both to tears, reveling in their hurt and rousing his fellow cowhands to laughter, all except his brother George, who comforts Rose, then returns to marry her. So as Phil swings between fury and cunning, his taunting of Rose takes on an eerie form. His mockery of her son is more overt, amplified by the cheering on of Phil's cowhand disciples. Then, as this movie goes on, Phil appears to take the boy under his wing. So we're left to wonder, is this latest gesture a softening that leaves Phil exposed, or a plot twisting further into menace? So it takes a twisted turn. It's slow, it's a very slow burn, but it stars Benedict Cumberbatch, along with Kirsten Dunst. Also out is Lost in Space Season 3. This is the final season. The Robinsons' survival instincts kick into hyperdrive as they race to reunite and protect Alpha Centauri from a robot invasion. So this is building up for 2 seasons now. And I originally started watching the series because I remember the original and its reruns from when I was a kid. So by the way, unless you have some nostalgia invested into it, don't watch the original unless you want a quick laugh or of 10 minutes or so, because it is so cheesy and so typical of the really, really low budget cardboard sets from the 60s. But anyway, I was curious how well they would adapt it to today with a little bit more money, a little bit more special effects. Hopefully better than the movie that was done in the 90s, and it has been. It's kept me interested and watching so far. It's been a pretty good job. Not great, but pretty good and worth a watch. So that is Lost in Space Season 3. On the 2nd, so this is out, is Single All the Way. And this is a Christmas romantic comedy about a man inviting his best friend to join him for the holidays so that he doesn't appear single. So desperate to avoid his family's judgment about his perpetual single status, Peter convinces his best friend Nick to join him for the holidays and pretend that they're now in a relationship. But when Peter's mother sets him up on a blind date with her handsome trainer, James, the plan goes awry. Seems like some lighthearted Christmas fare, and your mileage may vary on how up you are on this type of movie, but check that one out. It's out now on Netflix. Next we have The Whole Truth. It's a Thai horror film about 2 siblings stumbling on a strange hole in the wall of their grandparents' home. So when their mother is hospitalized in a car accident, Pim and Put suddenly discover that they have a set of grandparents they've never known about. But a terrifying truth has long been hidden within the walls of their grandparents' house, a truth that gradually reveals itself to them through a mystical hole, unleashing hair-raising horror on their family. Now, I watched a different Thai horror film earlier this year and was pretty disappointed. The acting was horrible and the movie it was kind of ridiculous. So I'm hoping this one improves and does a better job telling the story, and the acting is much better. But we'll see. We'll see if we try any Thai films in the future if this goes down the drain. So keep your fingers crossed. Also, we have on the 3rd is Mixtape. So Julie Bowen headlines this rom-com about a young girl destroying a mixtape that belonged to her mother, and then she sets out to track down all the songs featured in it. So along the way, she builds new friendships, opens up to her grandmother, and finds her own identity. I'll stick this in the not an immediate watch, but keep it on my list category to catch when I can. So on the 6th, we have the first season of Roar. So David Fincher documentary series designed for film lovers by film lovers. So hopefully if you're watching this, you love films and you're gonna like this. So this is also from executive producers David Fincher and David Pryor. Roar is a series of visual essays celebrating cinema and the personal connection we each have with the stories we see on the big screen, from intimate personal histories to insights on character and craft. Each episode reminds us of why cinema holds a special place in our lives. That being said, they better have a scene from Cinema Paradiso on this series or it fails, because that is a great film about cinema. But anyway, I'm watching this. Check that one out. Roar. On the 10th, we get Back to the Outback. This is an animated feature film where the hunt is on this holiday season when a group of deadly animals, along with a koala, escape an Australian wildlife park and head back to the outback. They're dangerously cute and on the loose in this new family comedy starring the voices of Isla Fisher, Tim Minchin, Erica Banya, Guy Pearce, Miranda Tapsell, Angus Imrie, Keith Urban, and many others. So, Back to the Outback. This is interesting. Also coming out is The Unforgivable, which we have Sandra Bullock back on Netflix. And this time she plays a woman released from prison after serving a violent crime sentence. She finds society unable to forgive her past actions, facing severe judgment from the place she once called home. Her only hope for redemption is finding the estranged young sister she was forced to leave behind. So on the 16th, we have the Nyjak Christmas. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This isn't a Lifetime or Hallmark Channel film. It's Netflix kind of joining that kind of holiday movie explosion. A mother's Christmas wish and the grand prize that comes with it sets off a fierce competition between her sons. The film features 3 loyal sons and one mother racing against time to fulfill her fondest wish that they all be married by Christmas. Naturally, each son comes up with his own obstacles as he plots to bring a bride home to his mother before the holiday deadline passes. While the three brothers participate in the frantic search for wives, their mother plans a huge Christmas celebration for which she will always be remembered. Will they each be married? And will their mother pull off the celebration of her dreams? Or will everyone endure a social disaster? So that is what's coming up on a Najak Christmas. And I hope that's how you pronounce it. Now, on the 17th, we get season 2 of The Witcher. This is something I've been looking forward to. This is the big returning series of the month. Sorry, Lost in Space. This is bigger. And that is The Witcher, which will see the series move into a more linear method of storytelling. Though I didn't mind the back and forth timeline that they used in season 1 once I realized it was happening, because at first I had no idea. I thought all this stuff was happening at the same time. It kind of kept it on the down low. But this new season 2 is 8 episodes of The Witcher. They're set to continue the story of the monster hunting Geralt, played once again by the big screen Superman Henry Cavill. So the season 1 finale ensured that the show's sometimes confusing multiple timelines are now aligned, uniting Geralt with the orphan princess Ciri, just as their respective destinies decree. We're also guessing it won't be too long before they cross paths with the show's third viewpoint character, the mage known as Yennefer, even though they kind of crossed paths earlier as well. Now, Geralt and Ciri have finally met. The Witcher season's story will focus on the Witcher's efforts to keep the princess safe while dealing with the fact she's more powerful than anyone imagined. So there's also the aftermath of the bloody Battle of Sodden to deal with. It's been 2 years since season 1, so I personally am going to enjoy a rewatch to get myself all back up to speed, and I've already started watching that. And I'm enjoying season 1 of Witcher 2. So if you haven't seen season 1, it's well worth watching, and then getting season 2 on the 17th of The Witcher. So on the 18th, we get Bogosol Immortal Souls Season 1. Again, I know I'm butchering these names and I apologize. This is a Korean fantasy thriller series about a woman who repeats death and reincarnation as a person for 600 years and remembers her past lives, and a man who cannot die because he has been immortal for 600 years. There's a mythical creature that feeds off human blood and is cursed with immortality. Bummer. Okay. A lot going on here. The Korean film industry seems to be really hot right now. Not that everything that has come out has been good, but I'm looking forward to this one and what it hopefully has to offer. Bogosol? We'll get it. We'll find it. Can't miss that name. See how it's spelled. Okay, just in time for Christmas, on Christmas Eve, we get Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. And a huge ensemble cast features in this Adam McKay movie where the world looks to be coming to an end. They star as 2 astronomers who are trying to alert the world to an incoming asteroid that could wipe out the planet. Fun! So Jennifer Lawrence plays an astronomy grad student, and her professor is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, making an astounding discovery of a comet orbiting within the solar system. So the problem, it's on a direct collision with Earth. The other problem, no one really seems to care. Turns out warning mankind about a planet killer the size of Mount Everest is an inconvenient fact to navigate. With the help of Dr. Oglethorpe, played by Rob Morgan, our 2 heroes embark on a media tour that takes them from the office of an indifferent president, played by Meryl Streep, and her sycophantic son and chief of staff Jason, played by Jonah Hill. There's a lot of people in this movie. To the airways of the Daily Rip, an upbeat morning show hosted by Brie, Kate Blanchett, and Jack Tyler Perry. Wow. With only 6 months until the comet makes impact, managing the 24-hour news cycle and gaining the attention of the social media obsessed public before it's too late proves shockingly comical. So what will it take to get the world to just look up? And that is on Christmas Eve. Star-studded. Also, The Silent Sea is a highly anticipated sci-fi series from South Korea. They're going crazy. With Earth in ruins, 24 hours on the clock, and the odds stacked against them, a team of space specialists embark on a seemingly routine mission to the moon. But when things quickly take a turn for the worse, they'll fight for their lives and uncover secrets that make their mission seem more and more impossible by the minute. An abandoned lunar base, a mission with a 10% survival rate, one by one crew members end up dead. So, hey, amen. Now on the 31st, New Year's Eve, if you're older like me, you may not do the party thing so often on New Year's Eve. I mean, how many times can you puke into a houseplant or magic marker someone's face? No, I'm really asking, how many times can you do that? I mean, it's semi-permanent. Anyway, on the 31st, and you can watch it afterwards too, is The Lost Daughter. Olivia Colman and Dakota Johnson headline this character drama where sees a woman heading on a vacation to get away from it all. A woman's beach vacation takes a dark turn with her obsession with a young mother forces her to confront the secrets of her own past. So it's directed and written by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and the cast also includes Ed Harris and Peter Sarsgaard. Check that one out, The Lost Daughter, on the 31st. And finally, for something completely different, we have season 4 of Cobra Kai. So this is the next season of the Karate Kid spin-off series set decades after the original film trilogies. So I'm only on season 1, I'm way behind on this one. Everyone says it's good, and it has been good so far. So we have the battle for the soul of the valley reawakens. New alliances, higher than ever stakes. Who will take it all in the All-Valley Tournament? So like I said, I'm a little bit behind on this. It looks good. It's been good. This is season 4. So go for it. It's coming out. And again, another one on New Year's Eve. It's a limited series called Stay Close. So it's another huge Harlan Coben series on New Year's Eve. It's about 3 people, each concealing dark secrets that even those closest to them would never suspect. The story follows 3 people living comfortable lives who each conceal dark secrets that even the closest of them aren't even aware of. So Megan, a working mother of 3, Ray, the once promising documentary photographer, now stuck in a dead-end job pandering to celebrity-obsessed with kids, and Broom, a detective who's unable to let go of a missing persons cold case. So Lorraine, an old friend from Megan's past, delivers some shocking news which will impact on all 3 characters. So as the past comes back to haunt them, threatening to ruin their lives and the lives of those around her, what will be their next move? So all those are coming out on New Year's Eve, and you can join the New Year with them if you're not doing it on New Year's Eve like me. So that's it for this episode on Netflix for December. Don't forget to comment if you want, if you see stuff, you don't like it, I mispronounce stuff, who knows? Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment, and let me know how badly I mispronounced words and people's names, and I will see you next time. Thanks.